Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please strap yourselves in because we are going to the fucking moon. That's right. What I've got for you today is Cyberpunk 2077 cut content, specifically about the moon DLC. Now, there's some other information online. If you know anything about the game, if you're really into it, you may have heard some stuff about a cut moon DLC. Maybe if you're really into it, you may have even seen some screenshots or, some stuff here and there. But I don't think anyone else has really dived into it this deep, and that's what I'm coming to offer you guys today. I've got the base game files here, the true assets in the rawest form. So I'm going to be tearing apart some stuff, and we're going to be taking a look. Alright guys, the first thing we're going to be looking at today is labeled CP Moon Dome Big Exterior Mesh. This is one of the more accessible moon files out there. And everything we're going to be looking at today is under a moon directory. Now, this is important because nothing else in the game is really labeled about the moon. This is its own thing. This is clearly something that they were working on, and it was clearly supposed to be some sort of DLC at some point. And that becomes just incredibly self-evident as we go through it. Alright, so this is one of the more simple things that we're going to be looking at today. There's not really too much in this specific file to dive into. It's just honestly a dome. But it's clear that this was supposed to be on the moon. This looks like it's supposed to be on the surface of the moon here. There's maybe some tunnels that we're supposed to connect here, some airlock type devices. But this is clearly for the moon here. This is a moon item. You didn't think that was it, did you though? Because I got a hell of a lot more to show you, alright? There is a shit ton of moon content, and it's a hell of a lot bigger and better. Here we have a prefab. So this is more than just a mesh. This is some kind of just compiled group of assets here. And it's a lot more tangible. There's a lot more to work with in a lot of ways, all right? So this may have actually been a later version of the thing we saw earlier over here. Not entirely sure. Actually, no. No, I remember this. I took a dive into this one last night. But a lot of the files here I'm going to be seeing for the first time. So that's going to be fucking awesome. But this one I did see earlier. I spent a hell of a lot of time digging through this, trying to find some good stuff. And there's a lot in here. There's quite a lot in here. And not just about the moon. So let's just get into it here. Enough talking. This just reminded me of the fucking TARDIS from Doctor Who. This I don't know what this would have been. Some sort of just general seating area, I assume, with some control console in the middle. And there's actually some modeled, well, I mean, not really modeled, but, there's some people here. This is kind of just a concept, some ideas they're working with here. But all in all, this is definitely work being put into the game. Being put into the idea of a moon DLC. Now, here's some of the tunnels I was talking about earlier. Now, these are common in a lot of the files we're going to be looking at today. I'm assuming these would have been used for traversal. Now, there's other people who have delved into Cyberpunk cut content before. They've mentioned oxygen systems. I assume that those would have been in play here. But so let's keep going. What do we got here? Just some more dome structures here. Nothing too substantial, but still interesting nonetheless. Maybe oxygenators on the outside here, possibly. Providing oxygen to the player. Not entirely sure. But we just have more general seating areas inside. Alright, all interesting stuff. Some lockers, some rooms and such. But all of the meshes are missing here. So, to my understanding, they did a lot of purging, a lot of cutting content from the game files as well along the way. So some stuff is unfortunately not accessible today. But I still have a hell of a lot to show you, so let's keep going. Alright, and what we've got here is called NC Base. Now, while it is labeled NC for, I assume, Night City, this is still under the Moon directory, keep in mind. I'm not sure if I've seen this one before, so let's see. I don't think I have. Alright, we've got a cylindrical, I assume, spawn point here. Is this a rendered asset? My god, I believe it is. Might be broken, but there's something here. I believe it's a texture. I think it's a miracle. But anyway, let's continue. So let's just get a wide shot real quick. Okay, so a little bit to work with. here. Okay, some empty rooms. Some empty rooms, interesting. Some windows. Some windows that would provide us a nice view to the buildings out there. Let's proceed down the hallway. We got some more windows. Now, I don't know. I guess if this is on the moon, I assume we'd be looking out to the surface of the moon there. Unless this is how we get to the moon from Night City. I'm not sure. We get more of these assets around here. They're just... Oh, what is that? That's a mesh for a character, it looks like. Okay. So these possibly could have been characters. I'm not entirely sure. May do some more digging into that later. But let's continue on here for now. So we've got more hallways. Phenomenal. Okay, some staircases. Let's see. For the later ones, I might do a pre-run through just so I can explain it better for you guys. But yeah, we've got some empty rooms here. There's not too much substantial stuff in here, but I mean, holy shit, it keeps going. Keeps going. I'm not sure what this would have been, but it's here, guys. Wide open spaces here. More windows, a tower, staircase built in. We've got purple sections, we've got green sections, but not too much to work with, unfortunately. Oh, and a yellow section. Just more of the same all throughout, it looks like. On to the next. Alright, so this may end up being even more of a deep dive than I thought. But after all, that is the intention of the video, is to show you guys everything. And there's even more here than I thought, so let's just keep going. This is labeled NC Base 2. Alright, so this is another base here, and it's completely different than the first one, we can notice. Now, I did about 30 seconds of looking, but I haven't seen too much. So let's look again. So we've got this truck here, we can assume, truck slash car slash vehicle slash aerial vehicle maybe, but I doubt it. Looks like it's got some wheels on there. This is either a double wide or just two models that they stuck together for whatever reason. And we can assume that maybe it's unloading or coming out of this tunnel here, which if we continue through leads us to this elevator section right here. So we take this elevator up and we have some missing prefab models just laying directly outside of it. I can assume this would be some sort of catwalk or maybe another tube of sorts. Leading into this area, we have some glass walls here, along with some more of these meshes that we saw earlier, which I am assuming at this moment are characters, or were intended to be some sort of characters or robots, possibly. And we have another walkway leading into, wow, okay, a larger atrium area here. So, yep, and it's even labeled reception here. So this would have been reception. With another, yeah, I guess that would confirm that these are intended to be characters, or robots. General seating areas throughout. Are these labeled? Labeled canteen. Labeled kitchen. Some sort of movie viewing screen. Okay, this would be our exterior, I assume. Maybe some trees, some fake trees put out there, possibly. Unless we are still on Night City, just going to the moon. I'm not entirely sure. An elevator section down below. Oh, we've already been down there. Okay, so we're on the second floor. Let's see. Losing it a bit. Alright. Let's see what we got over here. Bathroom, alright. The classic bathrooms of the game in every building for immersion. Of course, those would not be left out in the Moon DLC here. Right, so that's that building. And over here we have what could possibly be some hangars, maybe. And some more missing meshes leading to them. Let's see. Walk through here. Okay, maybe some boilers down here. Some boilers. Those are just labeled boxes. Oh, probably cardboard boxes. Yeah, probably I assume boilers or other industrial items. Now this is interesting. Okay, this is a hangar here, but it looks like it's got an open door here. I don't know. I'm going to throw a curveball out there. I'm going to say this is a moon car. Rover! It says Rover! Okay, it says Rover. That's a fucking crazy call out, I swear to God. Dude. Okay. Moon rover confirmed. Cyberpunk 2077. Put that in the title. Okay. Let's see. We've just more Atrium vehicles. Here's some... oh, okay, wow. Alright. Who the hell knows what we got here? Pedestal. Another cylinder. Some forklifts. So a cylinder on a pedestal. So maybe what we have here is some sort of workshop of sorts. All obviously very early in development or concept planning. But that rover's a damn good find. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's been documented before. But now you know. Let's see. What else we got? This one looks even more deserted than the first, unfortunately. Just some stuff poking through. Let's see, have we seen this? Nothing over here to know. Okay. I'm satisfied. On to the next. Alright, we got NC Base 3 coming up next. Not sure if we're going to be seeing anything different from the second one, just from the first looks here, but let's see. Okay. Prefab missing. Doesn't look too far off from the last one. In fact, it looks identical here. So if I don't find anything, this is just going to end up being cut. Just like all this damn content, huh? But what do we got? What are these? Base desks. Okay, we can just assume that these are desks. Okay, so... did we have this before? Not sure. Okay, this is just the same hangar we saw earlier. If not... I don't know, is it different? I don't know. Maybe just slight variations onto it. We've got more rovers here. And there's actually variations, it looks like. There were variations on the rover, like all other vehicles in the game. But now, unfortunately, it looked like during the cutting process, I assume that they took the mesh out, so people would not be able to see it in the future. But we have just some seating areas. But this one just looks like, oh. Okay, this looks new. Don't believe we've seen this before. Okay. Looks like another moon dome here. This one is inside. A ladder coming up to here. An observatory. Looks like, what is that, a camera? Maybe nothing. Unfinished reception or seating area. This looks like it could have been one of the carrying drones that we see moving around Night City. The drones that carry around cargo containers and such. That's just a theory, though. Yeah, those are just basic shapes. They're nothing to go off of. Okay. Anything upstairs? You hiding anything in the attic, CDPR? A bed. Huh. Possibly there may have been an apartment in this DLC, so keep that in mind. I'm not saying that's exactly what that was up there, but food for thought. Okay, on to the next. Okay, folks, next up on our list we have NC Base 4. Now this is another base, yes, but we have even more variations this time, so let's dive in. Now we have a truck here. We've seen these before. Now this is just a spitball idea, but possibly these trucks could have brought us between these mission points on the surface of the moon. But again, that's just complete speculation into the actual design there. There's no evidence for or against that. But continuing through this catwalk here, we come into a glass chamber room. Nothing quite to note. We see more missing prefabs. Oh, and wait, more floors. Unfinished, though. But the prefabs here are, like I speculated, labeled corridor. And I guess they'd be 5 meters by 5 meters, possibly. Let's see. And we have a door, our fully rendered door here, leading to more trucks. Okay. Is this the best place to store trucks, really? How the hell are they getting out of there? But anyway, we have trucks. We have another hangar here. Some disconnected rooms here, missing meshes, labeled chair with a spotlight. Huh. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Some sort of conference. Could this have possibly been a school? I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. That was giving me school vibes back there, though. A moon school, who knows? A clock. A shower. A bathroom sink. Bathroom toilet. I was spitballing the idea of an apartment earlier, but I mean, that's what this points to. I mean, unless it's just an NPC shower, but we do have showers in our apartments in-game. Alright, on to the next. Alright, here we go again. We've got NC Base 5. This is the 5th NC Base variant, and wow, okay. I see things loading out of there, out of range. I almost could have missed those. We'll have to check those out. Probably sooner rather than later, so I don't forget about it. But now, rest easy, because there is a lot of other interesting stuff coming about the Moon DLC that I'll be showing later. But we're covering everything here, and these NC bases are just in order, so let's keep going. We got fuck all over here, unfortunately, but a unique structure nonetheless. Okay. Again, another corridor. This possibly may be the most unfinished one yet, but the most spread out. Is this... This almost looks like the same thing we saw over there, but more finished. So yeah, this is very spread out in the editor here. Well, we saw some of this. We've seen some of this before, but now it looks like there's even more. We have a TV here, yep, labeled a missive cube. What I can assume would be a, computer. And I mean, that would appear to be it for this one. On to the next. Alright, this next file is called Drug Lab. This would be one of the locations we would have went to in the DLC on the moon. And now it's compiled of several floors here. I'm not sure if they're all included in this prefab file, but we're going to figure that out in just a moment. But this is a substantial base here. This is a substantial area. There would have been a lot of content, possibly quests or missions. In fact, most definitely, I would say. And they actually did quite a bit of work on this, what it looks like. There's some good stuff in here. Let's see. Maybe some of these are labeled. Just doors throughout. Rovers. Window shutters would be awesome to see out to the moon there. But yeah, so this would have been a major enterable area here. Some lights, a main elevator system. Now we can take a look at the floor files individually too, which gives us a little bit more insight. We'll do that here in just a moment. I guess this would have been some, a big crane arm, maybe? For some work out here. God, I mean, you really think about what could have been. It feels so close, but so far away at the same time. On to the next. Yeah, it's intriguing, because this file is also labeled DL. So this one's labeled DL, not Drug Lab, but I assume they mean the same thing. And now there's about 10 or 15 of these DL files, so I may not end up showing them all here. But I would assume that, I mean, they're massive structures. I don't know if this is all just part of that same Drug Lab file we saw earlier, and they all just compile together somehow, or if this was actually supposed to be just some monolithic structure that would have towered into the air. Because, I mean, this one floor already is massive, and like I said, I may show just a couple more here to get the idea, but there's a lot of these. On to the next. Moving to DL floor 7, we can see some slight differences. Mainly it's missing the exterior wall here. But again, I'm not entirely sure if this is... I don't know, if these are all supposed to stack on top of each other or what. But what I can say is that these are all part of the drug lab here. And of course we've got an elevator. But without a doubt, this would have been a substantial area. There's a lot of terrain here. I'm picturing just a massive building. A lot of good stuff here. But there's not too much we can draw from this, so on to the next. Alright, so I stumbled upon this one as well. This is another drug lab prefab, and this one's actually pretty fucking cool. I found some pretty cool stuff in here so far, and I think there's also some other stuff deeper inside. So let's go check it out. We've got just a corridor here. This is different from the other moon ones we see. More basic. And I assume that's why the prefab actually isn't missing. And speaking of missing prefabs, we saw the missing prefab for the rover earlier, which, I mean, fucking practically knocked me off my chair there. But here we have the actual mesh for it. This is what it would have looked like in the game. I assume V would have just sat here. We can see kind of the first-person view. And I mean, I could see it. I could see it. So let's keep going here. We've got just some catwalks looking down onto the seating area there. Corridor leading right back into where we went. And here's one of those moon corridors. And another one. Another one. Okay. Now, yeah, here's some of the interesting stuff in here as well. Now, I assume these would have been part of the manufacturing process for this drug lab here. And I also saw some more of that somewhere else. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, in here, we can assume that that's what this would have been. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this file, but we do have the actual meshes for the rovers here. On to the next. Alright, so this next one is Drug Lab V2. Alright, so this one's got even more meshes in here to look at. So if we dive in, we of course have the rover again, which is fucking amazing. But we also have just some basic storage stuff over here. A conveyor belt system, okay. Follow this on through. Of course you can crouch through these in the game. I assume that would be available here as well. We have a moon airlock door type thing. I guess this probably would actually be an airlock here. And inside we have hazmat suits. And now these actually have textures here. Or at least meshes. And yeah, textures too, I believe. But those are there. Pretty fucking cool. Not entirely sure if those are exclusive to the Moon DLC. But they are here indeed, which is interesting to see. It's nice to see some modeled objects in here. We got some more computers. Some more of these drug chambers, I speculate, more here as well. Another airlock, possibly. Splitting off. We have what could be maybe a bed section. Bunk beds, possibly. Or just a room with tables. Storage room. This has got to be some kind of bed. That looks like a bed to me. We move through in here. We've got additional storage space. More of these hazmat suits and some kind of chain gate there. Moving on to just a corridor leading to nothing. But I mean, shit. This is good fucking stuff. On to the next. Alright, now this is interesting. I haven't seen this one at all yet. This is titled High Riders Settlement. So this is possibly one of the towns we would have went to in the game. In the DLC. On the moon. But anyway, let's see. Let's see what we got. Okay, oh wow. Alright, we've got a shit ton of these drug chambers. That what I assume are drug chambers. Kind of an overlooking office here. A table of some sorts. Downstairs, it looked like we had some good shit. Okay, we've got... What is this? Hydroponics. Okay. Okay, interesting. So this is where they would have grown their food of some sorts, or they would have grown something there. Possibly just more drugs. Who knows? We've got more of these sprinkled all throughout. Maybe these aren't drug labs. There's something... They were in the drug lab, too. They're doing something there. But we've got a ton of good stuff here. Some of them are even slanted. This looks a little bit unfinished, but I mean, wow, look at this. They've even got loot placements to where you would have picked up loot. And what does this say? Break open. You would have been able to break open the pipe. Okay. Where to next? Where to next? This is a big place. We have another TARDIS type object. We saw this at the very beginning of the video. We've got a red floor and a blue floor. Interesting. To help navigation, I assume, for the player. Some more of just these basic habitation type blocks. Leading out into a center mess hall, though, which is interesting. Yeah, these are scattered throughout here, so this is definitely some kind of living quarters here, for sure. Here as well, I assume. Okay. So we've got a lot of just hydroponic stuff, and looks like the grounds for a basic settlement with a decent amount of people in it. Okay. This center area here could be interesting. We've got computers, which we would have been able to hack, I suppose, because it says easy. What are these? Box, a box, and a box. A lot of boxes. A walkway here with another entity up there. Is that supposed to be a ladder they just didn't put in yet? Okay, okay. A door that would have been locked. A door lock, unlock of some sorts. More of these, what I speculate are the flying characters from the base game. And this would pop you out into the open world. Yeah, so that's one of the settlements we would have visited. Alright, on to the next. Alright, this one looks like a fucking doozy, alright? This is titled Mass Driver. Yup. Probably gonna do some fucking cool shit if it was left in the DLC, alright? Jesus Christ. We got robbed, unfortunately. We got robbed. What can you say? But anyway, this would have been secured by a fence here. We would see some armored cars by Militech. These are labeled Militech on them, confirming Militech would have a presence on the moon. I'm not too familiar with the source material, so maybe maybe that's already in there. But moving on. We have solar arrays here, which I'm assuming would have powered this mass driver. Again, secured by fence all around. Missing mesh there. Watson North Harbor. Interesting. That's a part of the base game, the Watson North Harbor. Don't know why that would be here. Because I think this is clearly on the moon. Unless this is launching us to the moon. But I think that would be on the spaceport, which was added in Phantom Liberty. But anyway, moving on. What else do we have here? I'm not entirely sure what this would have been. It gives graveyard vibes, but I can't see that fitting into the Night City aesthetic. But that is a structure there. We have tons of missing prefabs here. They are missing paper debris, which would have just been scattered around here for aesthetics. Wreck debris. Possibly a crash of some sorts. Looks like we have a ton of shipping containers. So I guess this would have shot the shipping containers either from the moon to Night City or from Night City to the moon. I think from the moon to Night City, though. Maybe, I don't know what how the Watson thing over there ties in, but we've got, yeah, cargo container. Yeah, this would have just been awesome to see this in action. Oh, yeah, you can even see it, the cargo container loaded up on there. Oh, Jesus, with the open door. Oh, no. My goodness, you could just see how it would have went. I would imagine you get shot up here. That's one of the ways. I would imagine they would let you traverse the mass driver in some way. I mean, yeah, it looks like you can clearly get up there. But yeah, so that's the mass driver file for you. Oh, oh wait, there's more. Oh, there's a chair there. I don't know, maybe you'd be able to shoot it, to aim it as well. I'm not, who knows. But yeah. Wow. That's the mass driver for you. On to the next. Alright, another really interesting one here. So this one is mass driver, and then it says ACC farm. So I don't know, maybe this is a farm of some sort, but that's not really what I'm picturing from this. I don't know, it looks almost like scaled down here. Like this almost looks like it could be a city. And that these are, pre-textured or untextured, cutouts, blockouts, I think they call them, for the city we would have seen. But I really don't know there. That's just based off the scale, I feel like. But no, that's a ladder right there. That wouldn't make much sense. I don't know. But this is somehow tied to the mass driver, and it's labeled farm, and it's got quite a lot of work put into it, it looks like. Yeah, like there's even like a sewer system under here somewhere. I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering, because I think I saw this one last night. No, that's gotta be it. But anyway, there's clearly a lot of work put in here. On to the next. Alright, now this one is very intriguing. It is titled Mass Driver Cargo Boss Battle. So there's not too much to go off of just in terms of assets. It's pretty generic here, but we can see that this would exactly match the terrain that would be fitting for a boss fight, which again, this is labeled for. So we would have had a boss fight in this area maybe sometime before or after accessing the mass driver. And this is possibly the boss we would have fought here. I believe they would have, you know, they would have beefed them up a little bit for the final build there. But on to the next. So what we have here is the mass driver outer perimeter, quote unquote. This just appears to be an expansion upon the mass driver's map here. Let's see. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, so this gives us quite a bit to work with. We've got a mass driver here, which looks a little bit different than the stuff we've seen from it before, but maybe that's because it was down there and we're up here. I don't know. Maybe there's several mass drivers. But either way, this has got some connected spaces here. I mean, from the scale, doesn't that kind of look like it could be a city? I don't know. But we've got a ton of shit here. This would be the mass driver control room. And this is possibly where that boss battle encounter would have happened. Yep, there he is. So yeah, this is just spliced together. But we can see just... I mean, they were working on this for a while. And I'm glad they left in the texture for that. That's badass. On to the next. Alright, this is Vision. This is just titled Vision. We can see here we have a diner. It doesn't have any walls, though. And it has these cone-like objects down here. And I'm wondering if it just wasn't supposed to have any outer walls and was just supposed to be built into the surface of the moon itself, which would be interesting design. But beyond that, the missing meshes here are just missing appliances and such. Nothing too crazy there. But when I first loaded in and panned my camera over, I was like, holy shit, it's crazy. Yeah, it's just, I mean, there's this massive array of buildings over here. Specifically, these ones are the ones that are actually modeled buildings, which looks like they would have just been built right into the moon rocks. And I mean, you could start to get a scope of the scale that they were working with here. This would have been a big map with just a lot of awesome design. But yeah, so this is Vision. Next one. Alright, so what I have here is VIP bunker complete. So if we look at the top here, this looks like it would be the surface of the moon. It's got some solar panels and such. We move through. It says main entrance hall. We've got a section labeled decontamination. We've got rover parking, an airlock. Yeah, wow, you can see the decontamination, how that would have looked, kind of. Okay, you've got a wheelchair. No exit there, though, but it looks like... Oh, here we go. There's an elevator shaft straight down. We've got, oh my god, several floors. A pool. Okay, we've got a pool. There's something labeled rehab exoskeleton. Suit room, decontamination, observation deck. Which I don't know, what was that pole there connected to the surface. But let's say we went down this elevator. This would take us through here. Emergency exit. And Kenji's play space. Huh. Who is Kenji? Well, I'm not entirely sure, but maybe we'll be able to find out. But let's see. Bunker, Black Ops, Tutor. Is that what that says? Yeah, Tutor. Maybe a tutor for Kenny. Kenji, or whatever the hell his name is. Prop shower. Some just basic apartment missing meshes. Tutor's living area. Okay. There's that pool. Okay, we saw that earlier. big central tubing system here. An operating table for surgeries and such. X-ray control, X-ray projections. And yeah, look at this. Hold on, I want to see server room first. Server room. Yeah, wow. Look at that. Okay. Yeah, down here we have entrance to apartments. We could assume maybe this is where no. I could be talking out of my ass here. Hold on. Let's analyze first. What's going on? Yeah, disregard that. I guess this whole section here was the apartment. I'm just obsessed with imagining them putting in a player apartment here. I wish they would have put more player apartments in the base game, but they got to it eventually. Anyway, so we were just moving into the garage here, it looks like. And yeah, this would be taking us down, out. I mean, yeah. But so someone named Kenji and his tutor was residing here at one point. Maybe there'll be more times they're named later on. Anyway, on to the next.
Alright, so moving on, this is one of the ones I stumbled upon last night and inspired me to make this video. Well, that and the other fucking boatload of files that were cut or just generally intriguing that are accessible at the moment. But anyway, let's look at Lava Tunnels 3. Alright, so, I mean, this implies that there would be lava on the moon, first of all. And, I mean, we got tunnels here with a truck on the inside. Maybe, we wouldn't... Okay, we got a truck and a rover. And, wow, look, even a loot spawn. Okay. Who knows how the hell you get in here? Oh, and it appears to be right here. So, yeah, I don't think there'd be an exit out that way. I guess, I mean, looking at it from the point of view of the game world, it looks like that would have caved in there, and you'd come down through this way here. Maybe you have to do some parkour of sorts over some lava, possibly. Dare I say it? But so as you move up here, got a few missing meshes of who knows what. There's a rover supposed to be down there, apparently, but who knows if that's... True. Loot. No, I'm more of a fan of the lava theory down here. I don't know. Maybe not. But there's lava somewhere on this moon. That's what this all implies. But yeah, the loot spawns. I mean, it's just there's some thought put into all this stuff. And who knows how much was really truly done before there was cutting, and culling taking place. Which I'm not sure if it exactly, did happen to the moon, but they removed the meshes for sure. But I like to imagine they at least got farther than this prototype at some point. But anyway, moving on. Alright, next up we have emergency landing site. So, we can assume that somebody had to make an emergency landing here. Now, honestly, I don't know if this would be V who would be riding in here, or if it would be, maybe some rich tourists had to make an emergency landing. But this is what one of the space traversal pods would have looked like. And beyond that, we've got some missing meshes of rocks. Nothing too much else to note there. On to the next. Alright, however, beyond the emergency landing site, we also have the crash site, which maybe this should be, right around the emergency landing site, but kind of doesn't look like it. Yeah, here it says crashed AV. So an aerial vehicle would have crashed down right here, and it says torn off minigun. So maybe V would pick up that minigun and be super badass, be able to shoot down a bunch of this right here. Can't quite make out what this says. motel. But yeah, so this would have been another playable area here. Some cars scattered throughout. Alright. Okay, this next one is called Corp War Battlefield. Now, I've heard something in the lore before that there's been... Well, obviously there's been corporate wars in the lore before. That's common knowledge. But possibly I've maybe heard that there's corporate wars on the moon, even in present day 2077. So maybe that's where this ties in the lore. But either way, it looks like we have quite a vista type view here. And yeah, it looks like some craters have been shot in the moon, maybe? I'm not too sure, but it looks largely unfinished. Or possibly cut. But you can kind of get the picture of, yeah, a battlefield. What you're looking at here is just a brief snippet of what the moon road would have looked like. Alright, so you may have seen this before, maybe not, but this is the confirmed minimap for the moon. And as you can see, it's a completely different site than Night City. We've got our zones here. We've got the drug lab that we visited earlier right there. And there would be our HR settlement. I wonder if that stands for human resources, or maybe it's something completely else. Our mass driver would have been up there. Let's see, our NC base, dead in the middle. We didn't really see an exterior movie set. We did see an LAV site. I think we did. That might be the landing. Not the motel crash, but the emergency crash. Not entirely sure. But then I think this down here, titled Crash Site, was the motel crash. But again, just speculation. But yeah, a big map, as you can see here, with tons of craters. Main highway going down the middle, it looks like. So yeah, it's a true shame this got cut from the game. There would have been many, many, many more hours of content and just an awesome experience. Alright, so this is the exterior movie set here. I managed to get it to load in. And as you can see, I mean, there's not too much that makes sense here. You can see the battlefield we saw earlier over here, the Corpo battlefield. And other than that, I mean, you could just see that the massive surface of the moon we were able to load in here. And I mean, we can assume this would be the map. It's under the world section that I've located in the files here. So I think this would just be part of the map, and this would be the road possibly running through the center there. And yeah, you can see these just massive craters built in. Yeah, it's really incredible, honestly. Jesus. Alright, I'm going to see what else I can find.